So, hey, everybody, welcome to the Art of Relationship show. People, it's another episode. Going to be talking about how many people are, vengeful or you get a little petty in your relationship and marriage. We're going to talk about that plus a bunch of other stuff. So, get your questions ready. We're going to kick off the show right after the intro. Okay, welcome everybody to the Art of Relationship show. Wherever you're listening to the show, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for spending your time and spending your time with me, and anything I can do to help you out with your relationship, marriage, sex life, dating life. What else? Your own self, man. Anything that I can do for a lot of people that don't know. You can share the episode on your timeline, on your page, wherever you're listening from. And I'd like to get as many people out there as possible to join in. And remember, no matter what the topic is today, going to be talking about venge. How many people are vengeful in their relationship or marriage, and or petty, if you will, right? You try to get even. We're going to be talking about that, but you can get your questions ready. Doesn't have to relate to the topic. Anything I can do to help you out with your relationship, marriage, dating life, and yes, intimacy, those type of aspects as far as language as well, right? And for those people that are new to listening, thank you all, everybody. Thank you for showing up and listening, joining in. I'm Greg Dudzinski, fully licensed professional counselor. Yeah, I'm legit here in Michigan, Metro Detroit. And I'm a relationship and sex specialist, have been for 22 years now. And I do, as I disclose, I mentioned I have a lot of grief, a lot of trauma experience as well. And anything I can do, I'll bust my butt to help you out. And disclosure, this does not replace, of course, professional counseling that I do in my office because of HIPAA, confidentiality, and all that aspect. Okay. So join in. Let's have some fun. And I want to help as many people out there as possible. So when you're looking at, I'm laughing because I know it's not funny. When people are vengeful, excuse me, they're vengeful, right? Or they are petty in their relationship, right? It comes into that you're trying to one up your partner, right? You're trying to tick them off purposely, right? You might be, one person, they maybe did something that you didn't like. Maybe they didn't pick up the clothes. They didn't, whatever. And all of a sudden you fold the towels the way they hate it, right? Or, you're doing things just to tick each other off. And how many people are guilty of that? You know what? Screw that. I said I'm going to vacuum. I'm not vacuuming because you did that. Is it childish? And is it a little people, is it childish? Is it immature? Or is it a little bit of game back and forth? And I posted a video, shared a video, not mine, on social media. And it gets some ideas and habits, right? You didn't do this, so I'm leaving a damn dish in the sink that I know it ticks you off, right? So when you look at these elements, how many people are petty, or do you try to get even with your partner, right? And a lot of people, right, they want to get vengeful on an ex. They want to get vengeful on an ex-girlfriend, boyfriend, ex-husband, wife, spouse, that type of situation. And you're like, oh, you just can't wait your story. But I ask people, how much power does that person own in your head, right? Can you be upset, ticked off, angry, that type of stuff with somebody or something that really you don't care about, right? So I look at what would it help for you to heal where they don't have that power over you anymore, okay? Remember, share the video wherever, sideways, upways, downways. Share the video wherever you can I want to get as many people involved. And always, hey, Sheldon, what's going on, man? I appreciate you tuning in. So, share it and make sure you can throw your comments down below. And how many people are willing to admit? Throw your chats, throw the chat down below and your questions. How many people can admit to being petty, to being vengeful in your marriage or in your relationship, right? Maybe with an ex, right? Maybe your ex cheated on you, so you, whatever, put food dye somewhere. Maybe you were ticked off at an ex and you did this. But I'm talking, I'm not suggesting that. I don't promote that, not at all. I want people to get to a point where that person doesn't hold power over you in your life. However, when we're talking about in your current relationship, marriage, if you're, not single, or if you're single, think about it, right? Would you be vengeful? Would you go tit for tat? And a lot of people look, it's childish, it's immature. I agree, it is. But some people, you know what? We have that little kid, that little boy, little girl inside of us that we want to just hit them back, kick them back, those type of situations. And we can look at little pranks that are going, back and forth that are playful. But I'm talking about stuff that annoy you, that tick you off. I remember, I can't remember, a college student, grad school of mine when I was teaching, that you look at, they had a butcher block, with knives and stuff like that, steak knives or whatever, butcher block. One wanted it faced as an angle and the other one wanted it straight. So they would switch it on each other, and it got to a point it was fun at first, but then it would tick each other off, So you look at little games like that. Maybe it's the way you fold towels. Maybe it's the way, screw you, like I said earlier, I'm going to leave a dirty dish in a sink just to tick her off, just to tick him off. You know what? How many times have people, you went to the bathroom, right? And toilet paper roll is empty and you're like, that rotten mother, right? So, and you're thinking, man, I'm going to get him back, I'm going to get her back. What do you do when that vengeful situation is there? Okay, that's where I want to look at those situations. Okay, I'm making pizza tonight. Should I use sourdough or real dough? You know what? I don't think I've ever had sourdough pizza. You know what? Make sourdough. And if it turns out like crap, it's nasty, just let me know, right? Let us know, because I have no idea, okay? So those are the situations where I want people to be able to look at and, what is going on in your relationship and how vengeful you are. Okay. I got different problems. My wife doesn't like how stoic I am. None of her evil tactics work. Now, meaning stoic that you really don't care in what is going on, okay? Hey, Cynthia. Hey, what's going on? I appreciate you. It's been a while, you showing up. So when you talk about, stoicism, not allowing people, like I mentioned, right? Can you be at a point where someone, an ex, arch rival, that type of situation doesn't bug you anymore? And, with stoicism is a big thing, talk about, men being stoic, that type of situation. It goes way back in Greek, Aristotle. It goes way back when, right? So you look at, when things don't bother you, does that piss your wife off? Does that make her angry? And that's where you look at that stuff. He mentions, about none of her evil tactics work, which is hilarious. But it's one of those things, right? How much does it tick you off if your partner doesn't care if you're being vengeful, if you're being, sort of petty, that situation in a relationship or in your marriage, right? That, man, I'm going to get her back, I'm going to get him back. And they're like, I don't care, it doesn't bug me. And it just eats at you and erodes at you, and your mind just starts churning and churning. Man, I'm going to get him back. I'm going to get her back. That type of situation. Okay. So that's where I want people, to look at, maybe a little fun, but when that vengeance kicks up and you sort of be petty with one another, it's going to get to a point where it gets more and more ingrained and gets more and more severe. And then what happens later on, right? You might be in my office, right? You might be giving me a call. And then I'm like, hey, what can I do? Okay. Hey, my friend, blank is in an argument. Can you say I support her side? Now, I don't know what her side is, so I'm not going to get caught up in that. I don't know what her side is. But I'd have to know, right? I'm not going to just do a blanket statement. A lot of people will come in and want me to side with them. I'm not going to agree with, someone's side I don't really know about. Maybe I learned a long time ago what's going on. What? Greg believes in this, and it gets all over social media, all over the place. I get taken out of context. We can joke around, absolutely, but I want to know what the heck if, I support genocide, and you get me? No, I don't support genocide, dude. So, not at all. I don't support murder, genocide. I don't support racism, discrimination, bigotry. We could go on and on and on, right? No, I don't support that. So that's a nice, call up the bar joke, right? But that's where those situations are to be able to look at the pettiness and what goes on in that situation. Hey, my friend Ehop, what's going on? Hopefully everything's going okay in Cairo, Egypt. That's where I want people to join in and look at what is going on to help people out. You know what? To stop the pettiness, to stop the tit for tat, and stop the games back and forth, okay? That's where I want people to be able to look at those situations. Are you vengeful? Are you trying to get even and get back with one another? Or do you own what you do? You know what? My bad. You know what? I'm gonna stop. You know what? Hey, you know what? Could you please take, put the dishes in the sink could you put them in a dishwasher? Put them away. Those type of situations. So that's where I want people to understand, or do you know what? Screw them. And it's hard to do when you ask your partner, let's be honest, you're asking them once, you're asking them twice, you're asking them, her or him 3, 4, 5 times, and we're going to get ticked. We're going to escalate, and we're trying to look at how do you take each other into consideration when it comes into that you're not playing games back and forth with each other. Fun games, that's great, right? Naked Twister, whatever, if you want to play Naked Twister or whatever you do. To have fun, to joke around and be playful. I'm all about that, and that brings a lot more life and liveliness into the relationship when you can laugh together and play together. Hey Lisa, what's happening? Woohoo! So again, throw your questions down below. Anything I can do to help people out to improve their relationship, their marriage, their excuse me, their sex life, okay? And also promoting self-love and self-respect. So going back to vengeance, maybe one person they got a favorite pillow and they forgot to put the wash in, right? They forgot to switch. So you're hiding their favorite pillow, or you take it off the bed, that type of situation. What goes on in your relationship, in your marriage, when you start being petty? And how many people, even to the extreme levels, one cheated, so the other person's going to cheat back out of vengeance. Get me? And it just builds and builds and builds. And what good does vengeance do, or does vengeance serve a purpose? And most people listening, I'm all about feelings and I'm all about a purpose, right? The purpose, we do this, might not be healthy, whatever, people blocking my face, might not be healthy at all, but I'm looking at what is going on. What is causing your actions, your behaviors, right? The vengeance. Do you feel hurt? Do you feel ticked off, right? Do you feel taken advantage of, not respected? So, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to piss him off, piss her off, and I'm going to, make his life or her life miserable. That type of situation. And it does. It comes up to a situation to where, I forgot this. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be in a situation to where, you know what? I'm going to forget to do this on purpose. And it's just going to just, you understand where that escalation comes from. And you're wondering why, people are calling me because someone cheated, because of this. It could be because of the pettiness, because of the vengeance, and it never ends. It's like a competition with that neighbor that you can't stand, right? You're always maybe throwing dog crap, throwing dog crap over the fence just to piss them off, right? Or you're doing something, right? You're cutting the grass and make sure it blows on their driveway to get even or tick them off. And we can look at vengeance and pettiness all over the place, right? Maybe in family relationships, right? Growing up, maybe you had a sibling, a brother, sister, that type of stuff, that were very petty with one another. Or maybe you learned this growing up. If both parents were in the house, right? And it's like they would plot, right? They would plot and write a script how they're going to get even with your dad, with your mom. Maybe you were raised with grandma and it was grandma and grandpa. Maybe it was about aunt and uncle, whoever you were with. Maybe you had friends that they just schemed. They couldn't wait. This girl took my boyfriend, so I'm going to, cut her hair off, that type of stuff, right? The high school stuff. But then you find yourself doing this stuff in supposed to be adult relationships, mature relationships, and it's all based on hurt. Most of the time, it is based on hurt that you are going to be petty, you are going to be vengeful, right? And when I say about, being hurt, you want to make your partner feel the same. And I hear it all the time. I get calls, right? Greg, I cheated on my girlfriend, wife, boyfriend, doesn't matter, right? Excuse me. And you know what? I cheated because my partner cheated on me and I wanted to get even. And I'm like, how did that feel? You know what? Did it feel good to sell yourself out, to do something that was totally against who you were? And they just, feel defeated because they know it wasn't a good thing to do. But I get it. I tell people, I understand stuff. Doesn't mean I condone or justify someone being petty or getting vengeful. And we know people, right? They're vengeful and they own it. There's no remorse, no guilt. I don't care. It's like they have no feelings, that there's no compassion, there's no remorse, there's no guilt. So they end up in a situation to where, you know what, and it just, little cuts in the relationship, right? I ask people, I make a reference, how did an action, how did a behavior, how did a word cut you deep? How deep did that cut you? And did you understand your partner was cut deep, right? And these are situations to where, it's not fun, it's not easy, and you might need, professional help working on this in your marriage, in your relationship, to try to heal it and to stop the tit for tat going back and forth, okay? Hey, Rose, hey, what's going on? I appreciate you reaching out on Instagram. So, people, please throw out your questions out there. Any questions I can answer, I'll do the best I can. For people that are just joining, I am Greg Dudzinski. I'm a fully licensed professional counselor in Michigan, a relationship and sex specialist, along with a lot of grief and trauma experience as well. And I want to help people out. That's why I do the show, right? To help people out to improve their relationship, to improve their marriage, and also, to improve their own I don't know if you want to say dignity, their own self-love, self-respect, to be able to, you know, instill more confidence, but also keep their ego and pride in check, right? And how many people will look at the situation to where, vengeance and being petty with one another, it's driven out of pride, it's driven out of ego. And some people are just mean, right? And you look at some people are just, that's who they are, and there is no remorse, there is no guilt. Serves them right. And they can't relate to the hurt and pain they cause their partner, and they're wondering why their partner leaves them. They're wondering why, the pettiness and the vengefulness turns into divorce papers filing, turns into wondering why their partner cheated on them, why they broke up, why they come home from work and their partner's gone. And they look back and what's going on. I want people to be able to stop that and look at, what? How am I impacting my partner, right? Intent versus impact. And a lot of people, sadly, they don't care. It's all about winning, all about getting even. They don't look at the pain they're causing their partner, or either they don't care, or number two, that they are afraid to look at the pain they caused, right? So I look at it somewhere, one of those two things, maybe a little bit in the middle. But if they don't really care, then my question is, why are you with somebody that doesn't care or have compassion, or, even want to look at how they impact one another? Okay. How, what, you don't care, you cut me deep, you make excuses, condone stuff. Or is it that you're embarrassed, you're afraid to look at that you don't want to show a sign of weakness? And that's where, the pettiness comes from. The pettiness and the vengefulness, like I said, underneath all that, it's usually hurt. Is it, feeling disrespected? And I mention this a lot of times. Even feeling disrespected, you peel away that onion, all that stuff, and it is an aspect of, feeling hurt. That's what it is, right? So we can look at, are we scared? Are we fearful? Are we, are we hurt? What is driving what we do to hurt our partner? To make them feel bad, to make her feel embarrassed, to make her feel like crap. Why are we doing that, right? And it's usually based on, again, not excuse, whatever. Maybe it's a power trip, right? I want to maintain power, so I'm going to belittle that person. I think they're better than me, so I'm going to knock them down so I feel better about myself. And that could be the basis of the pettiness and the vengefulness. That's not healthy, right? And that is not true confidence. That is immature, right? And that's just the starting point. And we look at, it's somebody we love, but we want to knock them down. We want to belittle them. We don't want them feeling good about themselves, because what happens, right? If they feel better about themselves, maybe they're going to realize that they can do better, that I'm not good enough. And this is the premise of, where we go for, what's happening in a relationship that causes situations. And you can look at this in your personal lives as well, right? What causes the fights between siblings, between, parent and adult children, friends, right? It's usually because they hurt you. It's usually a situation to where maybe they disrespected you. They don't care about you. They didn't listen to you. They weren't there for you. And the premise underneath all that, we feel hurt. So what do? Instead of talking about it and bringing it up, hey, that hurt. I felt disrespected. You know what? I didn't feel cared about. Now we're going to get even. I'm going to make them feel what I felt. But do we ever say that? Nope, I'm just going to hurt them. I'm going to, some people, right? I'm going to tick them off. I'm going to hurt them like they hurt me. So, right? And how many people even heard, I didn't make this up, okay? There's nothing worse than a woman scorn, right? And we could look at gender issues, and a lot of people that know me, clients, people that know me, know I don't get into a lot of gender stereotypes. However, there are a few I buy into. And the one thing about a woman scorn, and you look at when it comes into being petty and vengefulness, more women are more vengeful than men. Yes, there are always extremes. I'm talking averages. I'm talking percentages. There are men that are vengeful and they're petty. Absolutely. But it tends to be more women are more vengeful. And my question is, the old adage about, what, there's nothing worse than a woman scorn. And where did that come from? Is there truth to it? Is there legitimacy to it? Or is it a myth? And I'd love to hear your take out there. Women, hit me up. Throw your comments down below. And what are your thoughts about that, right? Or so many women, the word mansplaining. Oh, I hate that. Everybody's a narcissist. And, oh, it's a man just trying to mansplain. No. Mansplaining is where, oh, a man doesn't want to hear you, doesn't want to listen to you. But if a guy hears you, disagrees with you, what happens, right? Oh, you're mansplaining. And then what happens is the belittling comments, the name calling, degradation, trying to rip that person apart. You don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot, and it just goes all that. And it comes down to when that happens in a relationship or marriage, see, it could be not only actions of vengeance, of pettiness, it could be verbal aspects, right? Verbal assaults, verbal pettiness. You said this to me, so I'm going to say this back to you. And it sounds childish. I get that. I understand it. Excuse me. Where does that come from, right? Do you step back? That doesn't mean, I get it. I want to pay them back. I want to, wring their neck. That type of situation. I want to get them back. But then it's looking at, where does this go? I'm hurt. I'm ticked off. I got a right to be. But can I command that respect and sort of go after that in a healthy, more maybe mature way than trying to get even, right? And if it goes back and forth, that pettiness, it's going to destroy the relationship or marriage. Or you're going to be in a situation, if you stay in it, you're going to be miserable. And that resentment's just going to build and build and build. And even this, a lot of people will get to a point where I'm leaving. No, we took a vow. We're supposed to be together, till death do us part. And what are people's thoughts on that, right? Andrea, what's happening? What are your thoughts, when it comes into this? And say the pettiness and the vengefulness doesn't stop in a relationship, but we're married. We have the kids. And if you look at this, and I bring this up often, are you teaching the kids to also be vengeful? Are you also bringing up and teaching the kids how to be petty with their friends, with one another? And are you teaching them this, a lifelong lesson? It's okay to be vengeful in their relationship, maybe as teenagers, as young adults, even adults. Are you teaching them it's okay to be vengeful? That's how you fight. That's how you get even. And there's so many people out there, dads, moms, whatever, brothers, sisters, that are all about and they promote, well, you need to get even, right? They punch you, you need to punch them back. You get me? They did this, so you need to get back. How many people promote this to their kids? How many people promote this in their relationship? Oh, you know what? You never want to do this. But they're not listening. They are watching what you do in those situations. And again, I'm a realist, people. I tell clients and you listening, I'm a realist. I get it. I go after consequences. I love playing devil's advocate to help people to look at, if this happens, I don't want it to, any bad stuff, what are you going to do to handle it in a healthy way that is going to promote healing and reconnecting versus creating a further crevice, a canyon, a divide between you two. Okay. Someone just mentioned, excuse me, I have been very vengeful this last year, not realizing it. Oh, you didn't realize it? What, did you ever realize it, number one, after the fact, and you never realized that you were being vengeful, or were you just acting out of hurt and pain? Those are questions we go on. But on the other hand, it has been the best thing I ever done for myself. I took all the pain I was handed and turned it into nothing but growth in myself. That is awesome, okay? He told me I wasn't a supermodel. I expressed that hurt, and he dismissed my hurt, which is sad, man. It hurts, right? He can't stand to see me now and always tells me how good I look. He made me feel like I was never good enough. I use that to move forward on my own, and he hates that. I don't need him anymore, which is healthy, right? I'm all about that. But you get to a point where you can use that hurt and pain to be able to get to the point where that person, that ex or whoever hurt you, maybe if they don't heal it and it's a toxic relationship, regardless if it's romantic, family, friendship, right? To be able to move away from it where, you know what, that person doesn't even bother me anymore. But a lot of people still allow that person to hold power. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. But what could you do to turn that vengefulness and the pettiness and use it as a motivating piece to work on yourself? That's what I want people to be able to get to. Easy? Not at all, right? Some people feel great about getting even, right? Look at road rage. I'm going to get even. I'm not going to have anyone get one up on me. Now, what do? Why am I making that person so important that I'm going to get myself in trouble, get somebody hurt, get myself hurt, or do something that is totally out of my character and what I value, right? That person, if you think about this, that person holds that much power over you. Where is the issue? Is it with that other person, or is it within yourself? And I tell people, I'm a realist. There's some people, you break up with them and they won't leave you alone. They'll stalk you. They'll show up at your house, show up at your work. But then you have to get the authorities involved, right? And I tell people I'm not, a fan of all that aspect, right? And, the thumbnails about the drama in the relationship or in the marriage. And I get that, right? But that's where you have to protect yourself and look at, I'm going to let somebody else, I'm going to protect myself and I'm going to deal with this. And the vengefulness and the pettiness, say you end a relationship or marriage and you have kids together, right? And that vengefulness still carries over. You know what? He cheated on me. She cheated on me. And I'm going to make sure the kids know it. Is that for your own benefit? To play the victim? What does that do to your kid? You get me? So not only you look at getting even, the pettiness and the vengefulness, you got a right to feel hurt and pain. Absolutely. But then you look at that vengefulness and the pettiness, if you have kids, what are you doing to the kids? You're bringing them into an adult situation. It's only one perspective, yours, playing the victim role and alienating the other parent, right? They could be a good parent, maybe a crappy partner, right? Why would you do that? And that is for your own selfish. I'm being honest, so people aren't going to like this. That is being selfish, and that is causing harm to your kids for your own betterment, right? So sometimes our pettiness and our vengefulness affects, a lot of times, it will affect our kids. So you have to look at, what am I going to do to stop it? Can I get help with my own anger, with my own, vengefulness? Or can we work together as a team to be able to stop it? And let me guess, right? I hear it all the time. I witness it in my office often that, I ask people, are you waiting for the other one to go first? Right? Oh, I'm not going to go first. I'm not going to stop being vengeful or petty until they do. And it goes back and forth. And I'm like, you need to stop, right? This needs to change. And are you afraid to go first? Are you afraid to take a risk? And that's where you go after deep down, right? You have to look at what is going on in those situations to be able to, am I acting vengeful out of hurt, out of pain? Like the one viewer mentioned, I've been very vengeful the last year without even realizing it. And we look at it, what are we feeling? It's that hurt. It's that, our hearts rip. So we want to fight back. We don't want to feel that way. We want to make that other person feel the same way that we feel or they made us feel. And what do we do, like the listener and the viewer mentioned, to turn that in to promote self-love, to be able to promote self-awareness, to promote growth that turns us into a better person, to look at working on ourselves, and also take that power away from those other people that are toxic, harmful, bashing us, criticizing us, instead of being vengeful in that way. Yeah, I don't even care anymore. You get me? Sounds easy here, but in our heart and our soul and just maybe our human element, right? It's not easy. But that's where I want people to be able to get to a point where, in your relationship, hey, why are we being petty? Why are we being vengeful? Well, we know why, right? Because you pissed me off. You hurt my feelings. You disrespected me, so I'm okay. We did this. It needs to stop now. So that's where I want people to be able to look at. It only takes one of you. Clients, couples over 22 years doing this, right? Couples know I'm all about only one person doing one thing different at a time. That's it. One little thing. Hey, you know what? I'm sorry. Instead of fighting back or calling them a name. Hey, you know what? That was rude. Why are you calling me a name? Hey, you know what? That hurt. Instead of calling them a name back and this stuff, right? That vengefulness, the pettiness, it destroys relationships. And again, I get it. It's not easy. I tell people, I understand. I understand why people cheat. I understand why people get into the vengefulness and the pettiness at the root of the core. Never excused, never condoned, not at all. I understand it, but that's where we need to stop and be able to show compassion and understanding. Do we really care? Hey, I hurt that other person. Hey, I was hurt. Do I want to hurt back, or do I want to heal this? Do I want to fix it? And do I want to get reconnected to my partner, to my loved one? Now, if they don't want that, and if they don't stop their shit, right? Then what is keeping you in that relationship? Oh, I forgot. The kids, right? Remember I said, right? It's not what you tell them, it's what you show them. Do you show them that you are tolerating the vengefulness? Maybe you're playing with it, the pettiness. Are you teaching them to be in a toxic relationship and you need to stay in it? Because that's what your vows told you to do. It's not healthy, right? Not at all. So that's where I promote people to be able to, what are you doing? Just one thing to stop the pettiness, to stop the vengeful tactics in your relationship. Playfulness, I'm all about, right? One person comes by, tickles you, or maybe, spanks your ass a little bit, and, playfulness, right? One person, maybe people have the sprayers, at the faucet, kitchen faucet, right? The sprayer, and you put a rubber band around. Maybe I'm telling on myself. You put a rubber band on it, or you put, clear tape on it, so when they turn on the faucet, it sprays them in their face. You can have fun. You can be playful in this, right? Pillow fight. But I'm talking about the vengefulness that creates hurt, pain, disconnect, and disrespect in a relationship. That needs to stop, okay? Here we go. I was petty for months, and I did want revenge. I think most of us want revenge, but we have to step back and get through that, reptilian brain, animalistic aspect. Bite, I'm going to bite back. And there's a difference between, are we trying to protect ourselves, or are we trying to attack back, right? I did want revenge in the beginning, and it took months to realize I was to blame for all the pain and hurt. Meaning, your own pain, your own hurt, or those situations. Because I allowed him to hurt me. I allowed him to constantly disrespect me. And this is part of what I was talking about just a few minutes ago, about teaching the kids, right? Staying in a toxic environment. And how many people, and I'll ask them, even today, probably every day I run into, he won't stop whatever doing this. She won't stop doing this. And I'm talking not, little things, right? We all were human. I'm talking being disrespectful, being toxic, being abusive. They won't stop cheating. And my question is very blunt. Then why are you still there? I'm asking, not to be a smartass, not to say you should leave, but I'm going to ask, why are you still there? Why are you still in that situation, that relationship, that marriage? And I listen because I want to know, okay? Hi, Valerie, what's happening? I want to know and I want to understand, is it insecurities? But I love her, I love him. But do you love yourself? And what is causing you to stay in it? The insecurities, the fear. You know what? Maybe I won't be taken care of financially, so I have to get a job. But we have kids. We already talked about that, right? So you're teaching your kids it's okay to be disrespectful, to stay in that situation. It's okay to be disrespected. It's okay to be abused, right? That's what you're teaching your kids. Let's be blunt. So I ask, why are you still there? Are you afraid to be alone? Are you afraid that leaving or being divorced in a toxic relationship, it's embarrassing? I hear this, I'll feel like a failure. I get it. I understand. But I'm also looking at then you staying in a toxic relationship, unhealthy relationship. What's that do to your core, the essence, your heart, your soul, mentally, psychologically? So this is where I want people to understand where the vengefulness and the pettiness can turn into, right? And being able to look at the self-love, to be able to self-respect, to be able to get in a situation. I don't want, I'm not getting into this vengefulness or tit for tat situation. I want to be able to stop it. I want us to stop it as a couple. And what do? Right? Man, that hurt. Instead of getting vengeful, right? Getting revenge. You know what? That hurt. I'm not going to tolerate that. Or, you know what? I'm not going to put up with that. Instead of trying to get even, trying to get back. But it gets into a situation, what keeps you going in that? Maybe some people, right? Some people love chaos. Some people love toxic situations because maybe they were raised that way. It's comfortable for them. Or being in that is a lot less painful than being alone. I get that. But that's where all the vengefulness, the pettiness, it builds and builds and builds and just destroys a relationship or marriage, right? That's where I want people to be able to understand, you know what am I doing to promote self-love, to be able to promote self-respect? Like the viewer mentioned earlier, I turned that vengeance into growing for myself, self-healing, self-love, self-respect. Started working on myself instead of attacking that other person back, right? What do we do to empower ourselves instead of looking at, I feel disrespected, belittled, not important, not sexy, not beautiful, not loved. So I'm going to make them and I'm going to fight back. Or we want to crawl in a hole. I get that. We get depressed. We don't feel great about ourselves. And that's where I want to help people pick themselves up, to be able to dust themselves off and look at, you know what? Why would you want to be with someone like that? And start looking at your self-worth. What do you like about yourself? Right? Nothing. Well, there's got to be something. Are you a good mom? Are you a good dad? Yeah, I am. Oh, that's one thing, right? Hey, you go to work every day, so you're disciplined, right? Sounds like you have a good work ethic. You go to work every day, you're responsible. Two things. You get me? Or whatever it is. We can build on that. But that's where that, instead of getting even and vengeful, you have to look at, what am I going to do to stop it? And I'm not going to play along with it. I'm not going to get sucked back into that game of the pettiness and vengefulness, okay? Make sure up above in my profile, wherever you're listening or watching, people, check out my website, theartofrelationships.org. And, I got to post my, I have a bunch of stop hate gear and love intentionally gear. I'll have to post that. I haven't, it might be on TikTok and TikTok store. I'm trying to work on the Instagram stuff, Facebook stuff too as well. So it's not on my website yet, but check out my website anyways, theartofrelationships.org. Follow me, like me. I appreciate it. I'm very flattered, very thankful that you spent your time. I am very, very appreciative of that. I'm honest. I'm genuine. I say it from the heart. Okay. Thank you, because I know your time's valuable. Follow me, like, whatever, at LoveGuruGreg. Again, theartofrelationships.org. It's in the profile, wherever you're watching it. You ever want to catch, previous episodes of the Art of Relationships show, the easiest way I tell people is actually YouTube at LoveGuruGreg, youtube.com/ at LoveGuruGreg. You can check out all the episodes, and I have some shorts on there too. And I do post short videos and stuff everywhere else too. So that'd be the easiest to catch the show. Any questions, throw them out there, private message me, and I'll, give me show topic ideas. I need help too. I need help coming up with ideas for the show. And again, much love, peace and love to everybody out there. Everybody take care, have a good night, and let's keep promoting peace and love, and let's get rid of hate out in the world, okay? Peace and love, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.